Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your Friday evening with Kimberly and I. If we haven't met before, I'm author and writing coach Kevin Johns.
And I'm Kimberley Grabas. I'm an author and brand and marketing strategist.
And Kim and I are both big believers in the power of writing retreats to elevate your author journey. You've all made a great decision to attend the webinar today. We are going to explore why exactly writing retreats are more than just a creative getaway. They're a powerful tool for creative and personal growth. By the end of this webinar, you'll understand with the support of scientifically backed evidence how a writer's retreat can magically transform your writing and mindset.
And just, I guess, if anybody hasn't met me yet, I'm an author, marketing and brand strategist, and the founder of yourwriterplatform.com. So that's the go-to resource for authors struggling to gain visibility in a crowded market. I have degrees in both business and psychology, over 22 years in sales and marketing, and a purpose-driven passion to help writers build an audience and brand around their work.
And I'm Kevin T. Johns. I'm the author of over a dozen books and a writing coach with a master's degree in English literature. I've helped thousands of authors craft unputdownable novels. I'm the founder of the Writers Craft Summit and the host of the Writing Coach podcast. Whether diving into the works of Virginia Woolf or flipping through the latest issue of The Amazing Spider-Man, my diverse interests in both high and low culture support my dynamic approach to coaching commercial fiction authors. Now, you might be asking yourself, why do retreats matter? What do they have to do with your writing journey? Well, writing requires intense mental focus, as you probably know, but daily distractions constantly pull us away from our creative work. Retreats, by design, immerse you fully in the writing process. Now, we're going to look at some science today. I didn't want to just do a presentation about how fun and magical writing retreats are. I wanted to do some research and really explain to you why these retreat experiences are just so effective. So, according to attention restoration theory, stepping away from routine, especially into a natural, calm environment, restores depleted mental resources, sharpening your focus and creativity. Writer retreats often a dedicated space where each day is structured around your writing goals without the usual interruptions. And I know we're all dealing with interruptions these days. So let's look specifically at some of the benefits of a writing retreat. The number one that I would immediately start off with here is this idea of deep focus time. In today's world, in our busy lives, deep focus is unfortunately a really, really rare thing. And yet it's absolutely crucial for meaningful work. And that particularly includes writing. So at a retreat, you get to experience this thing called deep work. I don't know if you folks are familiar with the book by Cal Newport on deep work, but it's a fascinating read. And he really argues that in order to do creative, intellectual work like writing, we really need long, distraction free stretches that can lead to intense immersion in our writing. And neuroscience supports this argument. It tells us that this kind of focus allows the brain to enter a state called flow. You folks have probably heard about flow state before, and it's where we become fully engaged in our work, and rather than fighting our writing or struggling, ideas and words and sentences come to us naturally. Now, retreats structure this time specifically to encourage flow, which is often elusive in everyday life, but utterly essential for creativity and productivity. Kim, what's your take on this idea of deep work and flow states?
Yeah, that's probably one of the most common challenges I hear from writers is finding, like you're saying, that sort of meaningful, focused time for their writing. And, we all know what it's like to try and work in those, small chunks of time in and around our responsibilities. So there might be some progress, but it kind of feels temporary and fragmented. You really don't get into the flow. And at a retreat, time is set aside where your creative energy isn't being split, making it possible to reach, have these insights or have those light bulb moments that, can otherwise stay kind of buried in all the daily noise. And it's not just about being, you know, kind of at a quiet place. That's of course part of it, but it's kind of about knowing that each day is protected time. And it's like giving yourself permission to honor your writing, that it is the priority and deserves the time. So if you can imagine, for once, everything else falls away and you're able to sink into kind of a rhythm with your work, letting it unfold without having to stop because of someone or something requiring your attention. And this kind of focus, this is that deep focus or flow state, right? That you can stay with during the retreat. And then it also kind of translates after the retreat ends, helping you kind of bring that feeling, that whatever triggered it, right? However you got into that state there, you can kind of bring that back and into the real world or back when you're at home and you have sort of that more depth, more discipline, and more clarity, I think, with your writing and your work after the fact. So I think it's kind of critical. I don't think you can kind of get very far with these small chunks of time. I think you do have to try and find ways to get into that flow state. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this kind of builds on that idea, right? When we're at a writing retreat, we're in an immersive, creative environment.
mm,
The impact that an environment can have on creativity is really profound. I interviewed an author, Brett Ratner, on my podcast at one point, who wrote an entire book called My Creative Space, all about kind of the feng shui of creativity and how our environment absolutely impacts our creativity. In fact, research shows that a new setting often triggers the brain's novelty center, which then heightens awareness and can really help to spark fresh ideas, which are obviously so important in our writing. Writers often find that just being in a new place, and you might have experienced this before, folks, just by going to a coffee shop or going to a library to do some writing, or in particular, surrounding yourself with nature, beauty, and
mhm,
simply
mhm,
peace can unlock perspectives and inspiration. A retreat set
mhm.
in a calm, beautiful location provides
Mhm.
exactly this kind of immersion, creating an ideal backdrop for creative breakthroughs and new ideas. I'll just
Right.
ask everyone to make sure that they mute their phone. We are picking up some audio at the moment. So if everyone could just hit
Mm.
that mute button. Jaina, I think it's your phone coming through.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Uh, yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so Kim, over to you
Mhm.
in terms of environment and the role it can play in creativity. What's been your experience with that?
Yeah. Yes, I agree completely with that. The environment for me plays a huge, it's a powerful role, I think, in shaping your mindset. And if we step into a space that's intentionally designed to spark creativity, it is literally like sparks going off when you're surrounded by an environment that feels rich with inspiration. It gives your mind permission to wander, to play, and to kind of approach ideas from different angles that might not surface in familiar everyday places like the usual spot. So really the environment itself kind of becomes, you know, a creative partner. You have the mental room for exploration, maybe possibilities. You can find yourself suddenly even more open to the ideas, that have been circling around for months, perhaps even years. And then all of a sudden things just start to gel for you. So it's also kind of worth mentioning that stepping away from your home mode, right, and into a more dedicated creative environment, it kind of signals your mind that, again, writing is our primary focus here. This is, work is to be done here, right? And creative work. So I think there's a reason there's so many, in history, there's been so many celebrated writers that they've traveled to beautiful or serene settings to work and they've gone on retreats. And it's just gives you kind of a fresh lens on your work, allowing you to kind of return to your writing with new excitement, new inspiration, and kind of creative direction. And if you can hear my dog, that's why I'm down in the basement trying to hide from my dog.
Talk about trying to find time and creative space, right? It's
Yeah,
not easy. We've got pets, we've got dogs, we've got family, we've got work. And so
yeah.
that's why retreats are a great excuse to carve that time and space out, as you said.
Mhm. Yeah.
Retreats often are done in groups, right? And why do we do things in groups? Well, because support from peers and other creative folks who understand what it is we're trying to achieve as writers is invaluable. And retreats are a great place to make those kinds of connections. Peer feedback provides an objective perspective, and learning in a group context fosters deeper growth and inspiration. And again, let's talk about the science of that. Let's not just, assume that that's true. But according to social learning theory, sharing experiences with others allows us to gain insights and feel motivated. By surrounding yourself with other dedicated writers, you create a feedback loop of support, encouragement, and accountability. And accountability is so huge. So many writers come to work with me just looking for that accountability, and retreats give you a great opportunity to find that. Retreats create plenty of opportunities to connect, discuss, and share your work in a supportive, growth-oriented setting. Kim, let me know your thoughts, please, on this idea that we learn better when we're supporting each other in a group.
Yeah. Well, I can't, for me, I find it kind of an interesting dichotomy because I know I work with a lot of writers too, and they do seem to do much better in groups in certain settings, right? Not always the case. So speaking as an introvert, right? And for many writers, we would kind of identify as being introverted. The idea of connecting with new people can sometimes seem a little bit unappealing or maybe a little daunting, or, you feel like it's maybe not the best. But I find that in the right setting, again, like in a retreat setting, something special happens. So you're surrounded by others who they understand the writing life, like they understand you and they share the same passion, for writing and storytelling. And you get kind of a unique form of camaraderie it's both energizing and, deeply affirming. It's the kind of thing when you connect with someone and they get you, you get them. So this is sort of different than your typical social interactions, because I'm not one for, the big fan of going to big conferences or things like that. I find that a little bit too much. And I think authors sort of feel that way sometimes when you suggest the group thing, it's almost they're too sensitive for it. But at a retreat, it's different. There's sort of an understanding, connections form more naturally. There's no pressure. You're not performing, you're not constantly having to engage even. There's just people that understand the challenges, the frustrations, the triumphs of this type of work. So in these settings, the support goes beyond encouragement. I think it too can become, again, a source of that creative energy. It just helps build that, helps you get into the flow state. It helps you feel more relaxed and confident. The creativity is there. And then hearing other people talk about their struggles and solutions, maybe that can often inspire approaches to our own work. And listening to, a peer's fresh idea or insight can sometimes be the missing piece to our puzzle, and it finally all connects for us. So the conversations might flow more freely because there's a foundation of mutual respect. We've got shared goals. And as introverts, again, these shared purposeful moments can be particularly meaningful because they let us connect without feeling drained, which is usually the result of the bigger, more clamoring type environments with lots of people. So
Yeah, Kimberly, I'm always interested in hearing your take on these things because you're kind of like a proud introvert, right? And I think, introverted people, they think of like going to a party or something as being like so stressful. But I think one of the important things of something like a retreat is, a party is kind of like this anarchistic space where who knows what's going to happen. Whereas in a retreat, it's a safe place. It's a place where you can go with people who understand you and who also might, need the same amount of space, mixed with social interaction that other
yeah.
introverts might experience.
Yeah. I think that's exactly it. And it's not the case that in every retreat you would have only introverts. So there will be the mix, but it's just there's just a connection there that's a little bit different. And yeah, and if you know the right retreat and the right space, all of that kind of comes together to give you that the safe space, the comfort that you need to be able to allow that creativity to flow. So yeah.
Absolutely. Professional guidance and coaching. So, guidance from mentors is absolutely critical for not just creative growth, but human growth. It's so funny. We look at Michael Jordan or Wayne Gretzky, or I guess I'm aging myself with those references, but we look at sports icons and they clearly have coaches and people there supporting them and helping them to get better, even if they're the greatest people in their field in the world. And it's funny, in other aspects of life, like in business and in creativity, the most successful folks also have coaches and mentors, but they're not standing on the sidelines. You don't see them nearly as much. And I think because of that, people get this lone wolf syndrome, I call it, which is this idea that they think in order to be a writer, they need to do everything on their own. And it's just not the case. Studies show time and time again that mentorship not only accelerates skill acquisition, but also boosts self-confidence and self-efficacy, which is absolutely vital for writers. I work with so many writers who suffer from that confidence, and just having someone there to say, no, this is good, you're doing great work, keep it up, can be so, so important in giving them the confidence they need to move forward with their creative work. And one of the great things about retreats is that they often offer personalized coaching tailored to your specific goals as a writer, because everyone's at a different place in their writing journey and even in any particular project. And so you might be polishing up your prose, you might be structuring a plot, you might be refining your book marketing or figuring out how to build that author platform and putting those marketing and business strategies into place. And the advice that you can get at a retreat, well, it's not just advice, right? It's actionable expert feedback designed to push you to the next level in your writing journey. And that includes both your writing, but also your career as a author entrepreneur, which is what we all become the second we publish a book. And speaking of that author entrepreneur idea, I mean, Kim, that's really your area of expertise, right?
Yeah. And obviously you and I will both agree with this section wholeheartedly because it speaks to the needs that we're finding that the authors that we work with have. And I found actually what I found with most writing retreats is that often the focus is more just on the writing itself. Like it's fun and it's a good time and you get some work done and stuff, but the focus is on craft usually. And but yeah, again, as someone who's spent years helping authors build their platforms and compelling brands, I can tell you firsthand that the work, like you said, doesn't end when the writing does. Like it just does not. Um, you have to bring your work out. How you bring your work to the world is basically just as important. So I think it's also important that if a retreat could offer a dual approach, right? So strengthening the craft side and building a sustainable path for your work, to be read and appreciated, then, you could walk away not only as more, as a skillful writer, but as a more confident and capable author, right? The authorpreneur. So you're ready to share what you create with those who will truly need it or will enjoy it. And having this business element isn't really typical in most retreats, I think, but it's invaluable. Like you said, it's to helping you achieve long-term success and impact. You need to have both of those things under your belt, so to speak.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you're right in that most of the writing retreats I've seen are really focused on mostly just writing. I don't even see that much craft stuff going along with it. And
Mhm.
there are these, author marketing, small business, they call them retreats, but it's these situations where you're in a room with 200 people and
Yeah,
there's a marketing expert up on the stage with like a microphone doing these sorts of things, right? And so
right.
I think what you and I are pushing towards is this idea of like, how do you merge the writing with the craft, with the business stuff when it's not some person up on a stage doing their thing. It's still that small inclusive small group environment to kind of still get some writing done and work on your craft, but also build your business. Yeah.
Yeah. And without scaring off authors, because
Right.
I, I have learned just how sensitive authors can be to the idea of having everybody, well, not everybody, almost everybody is doing it under protest, right? They know it has to be done, but they're not willingly coming to the table to say, okay, give me everything you know on how to market this stuff. So it's understanding how authors need to hear that, how people who are more creative and less business minded might not need to hear the information. So it's understanding that too. And like you said, it at some of these bigger, larger conferences, it's not the information might be valid. It's just not going to be easily accepted or as receptive. Authors might not be as receptive to the way it's delivered. So that's another thing to kind of be aware of, I guess, when we're talking about this kind of stuff and getting this information from professional guidance or coaching in that way.
Now, moving away from mentorship and looking more about what we can do to support ourselves, that idea of self-care for sustainability and creativity. Creativity thrives on a well-rested, balanced mind. I see so many writers experience burnout or pushing up against burnout because they're just pushing themselves so hard. They're passionate about writing, they're passionate about their project, but they often sacrifice wellness in the process. And so retreats are this great opportunity to not just work hard and make progress, but also to do those wellness activities, relax, recharge, do some strategic thinking, these things that are going to set us up for long-term success as opposed to just burning ourselves out. I have a real love-hate relationship with National Novel Writing Month, where writers attempt to write 50,000 words in 30 days. I think any event that gets people writing is fantastic, but I also think NaNoWriMo sets up this mindset of burnout. Basically, this idea that how you write a book is you write 1,800 a day words a day every day, and maybe you don't sleep, or maybe you don't see your family for a month, or maybe you don't eat well because you're trying to get this word count in, and that can be a fun and interesting experience. But that's not how you build a long-term sustainable author career, right? We don't want to just write one book in a month. We want to write many books and build a career around it. So practices like mindfulness, physical relaxation, they help to reduce cortisol, which you folks have probably heard about before. It's the stress hormone. And so when we reduce that, we increase the brain's cognitive flexibility, leading to more original ideas and greater resilience. So this approach to self-care, it's not just about relaxation, it's about making sustainable long-term creativity possible. And Kim, you've told me funny stories about how for the longest time authors would come to you and they'd say, "Hey, I'm launching my book. I need you to help build me or help me with my book marketing." And you'd say like, "Sure, okay, when's the launch?" And they'd be like, "Tomorrow." Right? So tell
Yeah.
me about that idea of thinking, you can do this all in a week or a month.
Yeah. Well, again, it's kind of not fair to to pick on authors in that way because again, some people are coming from a completely different skill set, a different experience. So it's something that comes easy to me. I'm finding, and I've learned now over the 10 plus years that I've been doing this, that everybody approaches things a little bit differently. And sometimes the assumption is that the book can take years and it's got to be fine-tuned and relooked at and set aside and then come back to and all this stuff. But for some reason, they completely don't think that that is the same sort of thing for the actual marketing of it or developing an audience for it or any of those kind of things. And unfortunately, it is relationships take time to develop. So you do need to, consider that in the long term of things. And nothing adds more stress to both of us really is an author coming to me and saying, okay, we need this done tomorrow, because we both freak out. So we have to sort of think, okay, like creativity comes when it's not like you can just sort of summon it on demand, right? It usually often thrives more when we kind of give ourselves permission to slow down and breathe and refuel. Like think of all those ideas that come to you in the shower, right? Or when you're out for a walk or something. So yes, writing can be intense. It can be deeply rewarding process, but without balance, right? Like Kevin's saying, it can lead to burnout. It can lead to self-doubt, because you're almost not being fair. And this is a lot of things that I tend to coach on, is that um, expectations are one thing, but they're not based on reality. Like whatever you're thinking it should be, I should have done this, or I need to be at this spot. I should have all these people on my email list, or whatever. Everything comes over time, and your expectation is kind of needs to be managed. And that's kind of my job, where I can say, okay, this is a reasonable request of yourself. The rest of this, what all the self-doubt is coming from, are things that aren't even real, because it's not fair to even expect that at this point. So, all of this tends to come, you get a disconnect from the joy of creating, because you've turned it into a business that you don't like anymore, with people that you don't like anymore, right? So it's not just the physical rest that counts. Yes, you need some physical rest, or you need to look after yourself, the way Kevin was saying, eat properly and that sort of stuff. But it's the mental and emotional resets that can open the door to sort of deeper levels of this creative thought, where you can have new ideas and inspiration. And that's like taking time for yourself means you're not only recharging, say at the retreat, but you're also establishing patterns. Then you're feeling what that feels like, and you can bring those patterns of self-care back into your everyday life, right? You recognize, okay, this is actually a beneficial way of being, and I can bring it back into real life with all the other struggles and stuff. And so much of what fuels this sustainable creativity, this idea of continuing long term, is about remembering that you are the primary resource. So if you burn that out, you're in trouble. You're not going to get much further. So
Absolutely. Well, perfect transition here, because now we're talking about this transformation. We're talking about, what do you bring home from the retreat, like you were just alluding to, Kim. The change that writers, retreat participants experience is palpable. Studies on intensive learning experiences have found significant post-event improvement in creativity, productivity, and overall satisfaction. So it's not about getting away for a week and then coming back to reality. It's about getting away for a week, changing the way you come at yourself and your work and your creativity, and then carrying that over back into real life. Writers often return from retreats with renewed passion for their work, having made breakthroughs in their projects, or simply gained a sense of clarity and purpose, which can be so powerful for setting the foundation for longer term success. Imagine finally finishing that manuscript, or gaining the confidence to pursue publication. Retreats create these kinds of breakthroughs all the time by providing the right mix of all the things we've been talking about already today: environment, community, and support. Thoughts on that, Kim?
yeah, writers, yes, they'll often leave with sort of this renewed sense of purpose, like you said, and sort of shift everything. And transformation isn't just about, the pages written or how many workshops you participated in. Like that's not really what we're talking about. It's really about the writer you become in the process. So you might even find yourself redefining what success actually means to you, or uncovering the confidence to overcome whatever hurdle has been holding you back, right? It's something that changes completely. Perspective changes. And when you return to to life, right, post retreat, these changes can stick with you. So this is the kind of stuff that happens when you're given the right environment, the right community, the right support. It all combines to spark this profound shift. And so it ends up being, like Kevin's saying, it's much more than just a week away. It's not just a day or a week off. It's an investment in yourself and in the writer you're becoming. And the shift, once it happens, is from that point forward, right? It's not something that goes away or that you lose. It's now something that is as a part of you, and that you can bring to bear on all the rest of the work and all the writing going forward.
Okay, so let's go back over some of the information that we've talked about already on today's webinar. So, one, attention restoration theory has observed how natural and calm environments can restore depleted mental resources and improve mental clarity. Two, establishing a flow state boosts creativity, allowing for deeper insights and progress on complex tasks. Three, environmental change activates creativity, as seen in many studies where novel surroundings led to better problem solving and idea creation. Four, group settings enhance individual skill development and foster intrinsic motivation. Research highlights that mentorship and coaching's role it plays a strong role in boosting creative output, enhancing confidence, and accelerating learning. And six, mindfulness practices have been shown to improve creative problem solving and reduce stress, which is vital for sustained creativity, that long term goal setting and achievement, like we've been talking about. And seven, immersive experiences have measurable positive impacts on creative output and both short and long term goal completion. Okay. So, with all of that said, with this foundation for the scientific proof that writing retreats can be super, super valuable for creative folks, Kimberly and I are super excited to invite you to join us at the Ink and Impact Writers Retreat this January, just a month away, here in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, where I'm located. At Ink and Impact, we're going to blend introspective, creative work, that's our ink side of things, with actionable business strategies. That's the impact to help you grow as a writer and an author entrepreneur. So, on the craft side of things, obviously, that's my area of expertise. And we are going to help you develop that writing momentum. You're going to get dedicated writing time in an inspiring environment. You're going to get those creative breakthroughs and push through any blocks that you're experiencing. You're going to establish sustainable writing habits and complete focused work on your current project. We're also going to look at continuing to improve your writer's craft mastery. I always love to quote Ernest Hemingway, who said, "We're all apprentices in a craft where no one ever becomes a master." So if Hemingway had that lifelong learning mindset, the rest of us can as well. And so we're really looking forward to using this opportunity to dive into advanced writing techniques with expert guidance from me. Like Kim, I've worked with authors for over a decade now. We're going to look at genre-specific strategies. Again, this is a small group environment, so it's going to be bespoke. We're really going to be able to tailor the craft training to the work that you are trying to achieve. You're going to get feedback from me on your work, and I'm going to provide you with tools to continue to elevate your storytelling chops. My goal is also to ensure that you achieve creative confidence by the time you leave this retreat. You're going to overcome imposter syndrome, find and embrace your unique voice as a writer, learn to trust your creative instincts. So much of what I do as a coach is training people to learn to trust their guts and to recognize their talents. And we really want to help you connect with your authentic writing style. If you folks have worked with me as a writing coach before, or perhaps listened to my podcast, you might know I call myself a technique atheist. I'm not certified in one specific approach to storycraft. I really believe that my goal as a writing instructor is to survey all of the tools out there, all of the approaches, and then present them to you so that you can choose the one that works best and most authentically for not just your writing style, but for the particular project that you're writing on and that you're working on. Kim, do you want to talk about the career side of things?
Yep, sure. So, Okay, yeah. So these are just sort of some of the type of things that we might work on together. So your author platform blueprint. So custom marketing strategy, we would develop a marketing approach tailored to your unique strengths and values, ensuring your efforts feel authentic and sustainable. We'd also focus on time efficient strategies to help you maintain a consistent presence online without sacrificing your creativity or focus on writing. Reader engagement techniques this is a big one. I can help you build genuine connections with your audience through methods that foster loyalty and encourage word of mouth promotion. And with your brand storytelling framework, we craft a cohesive narrative that reflects your identity as an author, helping readers connect with your work on a deeper level. And all of this is, essential because it empowers you to build a sustainable, authentic presence that connects with readers and supports your career, giving you the tools to market your work effectively without compromising your creative energy. So, and the next, Kevin, you want to go to the next one? It was the business clarity one. Yeah. So this one, again, will define how your writing fits into a sustainable business structure. So you're not burning out, so you can focus on creating while knowing how your work will generate income. We'll explore revenue streams. So we'll explore diverse ways to earn from your writing. So from book sales to ancillary opportunities, ensuring long-term financial stability instead of just, the one-hit wonder maybe, or where's the next check going to come from and how can you sustain this? Roadmap. So yeah, we'd have sort of a map out, I guess, the actionable steps to achieve your goals, giving you direction and confidence to grow your career intentionally in the way that you want it to grow. And will, of course, kind of position you, and I'll help you establish yourself as a credible and memorable author in your niche, making it easier to attract your readers, opportunities, and industry recognition if that's your goal. So your business clarity helps you move from uncertainty to a strategic, purposeful driven approach, and it'll equip you to align your creative vision with a solid plan for success. So at the retreat, you'll actually leave with that actionable insights to grow your writing career confidently and sustainably. And the tools, of course, we'll also look at these tools to help streamline the workflow. So everything from time management systems. So I'll give you some techniques to prioritize your tasks and maximize your productivity, ensuring that you have more time to focus on the writing. I'll help you simplify the complex projects with templates that can help you stay organized and on track from idea to execution. We'll look at maybe some marketing calendars, so we'll be able to plan, all your promotional efforts with clarity and foresight, right? So that you're aligning your marketing activities and your creative schedule, and not one or the other is falling through the cracks. And we can even look at some goal setting framework. So I'll help you set achievable and again meaningful goals that actually mean something to you with actionable steps, keeping you motivated and progressing, steadily again toward your idea of success. So this will all give you the kind of the practical systems, the resources that you need to turn your ideas into reality, and you'll gain, all these frameworks that will save time, reduce the overwhelm, which is big, and ensure that you leave the retreat with a clear path to consistent progress towards the goals. So yeah, that's basically what will happen to you if I get hold of you at the retreat.
So hopefully what you folks are gathering here is that what we're trying to put together here is a retreat where ink meets impact, where you can learn how your creative work informs your brand, how you can discover how platform building can inspire your writing. You can create content that serves both artistic and business goals, and you can build authentic connections that support craft and career. So, what exactly can you expect from Ink and Impact? Well, this retreat is designed by Kimberly and me to help you rejuvenate, refocus, and transform your writing practice in an inspiring, supportive, and cozy environment. The Ink and Impact Writers Retreat offers everything we discussed on today's webinar, all of those benefits of attending a retreat. We're talking about dedicated writing time, an inspiring location, peer support, expert feedback and mentorship on writer's craft techniques from myself, and expert feedback and mentorship on author branding and book marketing from Kimberly. And of course, self care opportunities to really give yourself that time to set yourself up for long term sustainable writing and author marketing practices. Our location, this is a photo of it here. It's called the Manor de la Forêt. We have booked the entire location, so there is going to be no one here except us writers. It is a tranquil escape from everyday life in Canada's national capital region. Manor de la Foret's beautiful natural surroundings offer peace, quiet, and comfort. It's a perfect location for a writing retreat if you're looking for uninterrupted writing, reflection, and creative growth. It is just north of Ottawa, and so downtown Ottawa is a hop, skip, and a jump away, and yet we are far enough outside of town that we're isolated in this gorgeous location surrounded by nature and a setting meant to stimulate creative success. Now, who's this retreat for? Well, it's for writers seeking a distraction free environment to work on their craft. Whether you need a creative reset, a boost in productivity, or deeper connections with fellow writers, this retreat is for you. And as we said, we know people are at different stages in their career. So, for those of you who are still emerging authors, this is your opportunity to turn your writing passion into a sustainable career path with clear next steps. For the mid-list authors out there, this is your chance to break through your current plateau with advanced strategies for both craft and platform. And for the established authors, this is a chance to refresh your creative energy while developing sophisticated marketing approaches for your body of work. So, some of the retreat highlights. So, this is 3 full days and 2 half days of creativity and wellness. It's an all inclusive retreat. So, that means included in your ticket is all of the accommodations, including gourmet handmade meals throughout. I guess all food is handmade, made by a chef on site is what I was getting at there. Uh, well, I guess no, I guess manufactured food doesn't have that handmade touch. So yes, it is handmade food. You're gonna have your opportunity to get those quiet writing sessions where you can get that focused, deep work done. We're gonna mix that with group coaching workshops led by Kimberly and myself. We both got, between the two of us, we have over 20 years of experience helping writers to succeed. And all of this is going to be focused on nurturing a balanced and productive retreat experience. Some of the benefits you can anticipate from attending Ink and Impact: transform your writing and marketing practices, boost productivity in a focused setting, tap into new levels of creativity and flow, connect deeply with a supportive writing community, learn from experienced mentors, and set the foundation for long term writing success in 2025. One of the reasons I wanted to host this retreat in January is because I know so many of us are doing our yearly planning at the beginning of the calendar year. We're saying, what is it we want to achieve as authors in 2025? And I wanted to create this special week where you can really focus on setting the foundation for success in 2025 so that 2025 completely blows 2024 out of the water for you in terms of success as well as peace of mind and establishment of sustainable writing and marketing practices. Every element of this retreat is designed to support your lasting growth as a writer. So you're going to get a retreat experience specifically curated for writers just like you. A daily schedule of wellness, writing, and coaching workshops, all inclusive accommodations and amenities, delicious meals, drinks, and snacks, resources for both personal and professional growth, and the time and space to be the writer you know you can be. So this is a one-of-a-kind New Year's experience. Like Kimberly and I talked about in the presentation, other retreats focus on either just writing time or just craft development or just marketing strategies. But the reality is, all of this needs to come together and work together in order for you to succeed as a creative entrepreneur. We don't just give you the time to write like some retreats, and we don't just give you a few marketing tips. Instead, our goal here is to really find that synthesis where we can show you how to make your creative work and your platform building strengthen each other. At Ink and Impact, we believe that your best writing and your strongest platform grow from the same root, your authentic voice and vision. So, over 5 transformative days, we're going to show you exactly how to nurture both creating a sustainable writing life where your craft and career support each other naturally. So, no more choosing between being creative or being visible. This is where your art and your ambition can align. So, I don't think I said the date. The date is January 15th to 19th. So that's the second week of January 2025. If you're ready to dive into a transformative experience, we'd love to have you join us at Ink and Impact 2025. As we said, this is a small group experience. We only have 10 rooms available, and half of them are already booked. So January is, not that far off, and we only have 5 rooms remaining. So this is one of those don't miss out moments. This is really not something to hum or haw on. We are filling up fast, and we're launching into this incredible experience next January 15th to 19th. So the price is an investment, a one-time payment of $2,700 American, or 2 payments of $1,500 American. Oh, and here's all of the works I cited during the science portion of our presentation. So let's bring everyone back on camera here.